So I really hope this goes well, because if it doesn't, I am not doing it again. Hello everyone. My name is Shelby. Welcome back to my channel, Grace with Books. Today, I am really excited to be sharing with you guys another installment of my top 5 lists, and today it is in honor of Halloween, my top 5 paranormal books. To make it more exciting, however, I've decided that also while discussing my favorite paranormal books, I will be putting on my makeup for Halloween, and then eventually you'll get to see me in my entire costume. I am in a different location. As you can see, we're at my desk and I have a whole setup here ready to go, and I'm super excited to be trying this kind of video. I've never really done a makeup video except for the one time I tried it in the reading rush, so I am by no means good at makeup. I am by no means a makeup artiste. I am just a person with a lot of materials here and I'm excited to use them. Before we even begin with that, however, I wanted to have a really quick discussion about what paranormal is, because when I was curating this list, I decided that I really didn't have a good definition. I think a lot of people get fantasy and paranormal mixed up. I certainly do as well. So I did some research and I found definitions of each that I think make sense and sort of help you to see why I chose the books I did for this list. So, when talking about fantasy, generally you're talking about other worlds or other realities. Magic is usually a huge element in those kinds of stories. And I even found a little test to see if you can consider a book fantasy or not. If you can take away all of the weirdness in the story, like magic and shapeshifters or angels or demons or characters or fairies, if you can take those things away from the story and the world you're left with is still not normal, that is considered a fantasy book. Paranormal, however, is set in the real world. It's usually the real world with a little sprinkle of something extra. Usually like vampires, shapeshifters, werewolves, aliens. Though aliens gets into science fiction and that's just a whole other category. It can also be any kind of creature as long as it's set in our world. And you can apply the test that we just did to this as well. So if you can take away all of the weirdness in the story and what you're left with is like a normal place, a normal world, then that's sort of what is considered a paranormal book. There is a lot of overlap between these two genres. A lot of times when you see it on Goodreads, you will see a paranormal and a fantasy shelf when you're looking at the genres for the book. But despite that overlap, that sort of the paranormal criteria that I just described is what I use to pick the books on my list. So I'm super excited. Let's go. My face is already primed, I have a lot of makeup off already, so we are going to start with my foundation, and I'm just using a Sephora foundation. It is literally the lightest color because I am pale, and honestly, I think the best brush you can use is your hand, so. Now that that's all done, I'm here to tell you guys that the first book on my paranormal picks is a recent book that I read. It only came out in September, and that would be Serpent and Dove by Shelby Grace. This book follows Lou, who is a witch who is running from her coven and forced to sort of suppress her powers, and it is about Reed, who is a chasseur, basically a witch hunter. Unfortunate accidents happen that cause them to have to get married to save Reed's reputation, and he still does not know that she is the creature that he is sworn to kill. And it is just a wonderful enemies to lovers romance, and it is a great read. I thought the magic system was so creative. I thought that really all the fantastical elements were wonderful. It was definitely a paranormal book because if you strip all the magic away, it is just an enemies to lovers romance in France in like the 17th century. So it is a recent read of mine. It was a highly anticipated read of mine and I absolutely loved it. If it is the first book in the series, I really think you should go check it out. It is a debut novel by Shelby Grace, and I think it was just a wonderful job. All the characters are so deep and you really simply fall in love with all of them. I have yet to meet a person who did not like this book. So, Serpent and Dove by Shelby Grace. And now, because I am a very pale person, we are going to add some contour and blush to sort of give color and depth. Alright, now that I have some color back to my face, The second book I'm going to recommend for you guys is The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. This is also a recent read of mine. I read this for the Hocus Pocus readathon, and it is a book that I did not expect to like, but I did. The Wicked Deep tells the story of this town called Sparrow, and centuries earlier, 3 women were drowned for being witches, and now every summer they come back and drown 3 boys. This book was chilling and atmospheric and the perfect spooky vibe that a lot of people want to get out of their paranormal books. I loved the twists, I loved the relationships in this book. The characters were good, but I think if you're gonna read this, you're gonna read it because of the spooky atmosphere of the ghosts and just the wonderful lyrical writing that Earnshaw has in this book. It really comes off the page, and I wasn't expecting to like it because I'm not a big spooky ghosts possession person, but this was just done so well. So the second book I'm gonna recommend to you guys is The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. Now that my face has some color, we're gonna add some sparkle. I'm gonna add some highlighter. Okay then, the third book I'm going to recommend to you guys today is something I don't talk about a lot because I don't know why, but I love romance. I love dark romance books. I love the intrigue, I love the relationships, and I just think they're so consuming and wonderful, but they are definitely not for the younger audiences here, so I don't talk about them a lot. But this is a wonderful paranormal book that is beloved by so many, and yes, I wouldn't recommend it for people like 17 and under, but I'm gonna say to here anyway, and that would be Dark Lover by J.R. Ward, the first book in the Black Dagger Brotherhood. This is a vampire story about a vampire named Wrath, one of the only purebred vampires left on Earth, and when one of his most trusted warriors died, Wrath promised to watch after his half-breed daughter. The daughter is unaware that she is half vampire. She has no idea about any of the things going on around her, but Wrath looks over her and eventually things happen and it is wonderful. This is such a good story. I know a lot of people think smut and think it is tacky and just about sex, but really this was very plot driven and very well done. This is also an extremely well set up story. This is the first book in a very long series, and from what I've heard, they just keep getting better, and I can't wait to read the second book in the whole series. They're, I believe, standalone, so each book's about a different vampire, but if you are older and you are interested, I definitely recommend Dark Lover by J.R. Ward. My eyes are looking a little bleh, so we are going to do some eyeliner and eyeshadow now. Okay, now that that is done, let's talk about the fourth book I'm going to recommend to you. I know you're all dying to figure out what I'm going to be because I don't think I've said it yet, but I think at this point I'll just tell you at the end, so woo! The fourth book I'm going to recommend to you guys is Fallen by Lauren Kate. Yes, this has gotten many mixed reviews, I've gotten into many arguments about it with people, but I personally enjoyed it. Fallen follows Luce, who is a girl who is being sent to a school for troubled people because the police and her parents all believe that she set fire to her last school. When she gets to this new school, she encounters many students she feels a connection to, but she can't place from where exactly. As she goes through her experience here and starts to learn more and develop questions about her past life, she finds herself falling in love with one of the people she feels a connection to named Daniel, and despite him trying to push her away, their magnetism brings them together as Luce discovers a centuries-old love story that has only recently begun its newest chapter. This book involves angels, it involves fallen angels, my favorite, and it is just such a wonderful love story in my opinion. You really follow Luce throughout this experience. You do not know what's going on, and and I like finding it out with the character. It is a slow burn, which I don't like, so that's a little mark against it, but I know some people enjoy those books, so I'm still going to recommend it. But yes, definitely check out Fallen by Lauren Kate. Finally, we are going to do some black lipstick, so let's get on that. Okay, now that I am properly goth-esque, we're going to talk about my fifth and final book, and I'm super excited to recommend this one to you, and it is City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. And I don't think I talk about how much I love this book on this channel as much as I absolutely adore this book. This is really one of the books that got me into paranormal and got me into fantasy as a whole. It was just such a magical adventure for me. It is about a girl named Clary Frey who, when she turns, I believe, 16, sees something she really shouldn't have seen. She sees a murder happen in a nightclub by people with strange tattoos, and then even more strange things start happening around her. Soon, she is caught up in a secret world in New York that she never knew about. She comes caught up in the shadow world where Nephilim, humans with angel blood, are fighting against demons and other creatures to keep the streets of New York and the world safe. But these shadow hunters don't know how Clary gained the sight, since Clary has no idea what a shadow hunter is or what the shadow world is. How did she gain the sight? How did she get caught up in this world? It is such a wonderful book. It is a long series, so if you're reading it, be ready to get into it for the long haul. That is my disclaimer, but it's just such a magical thing, and I remember getting these books from the library every single week, getting so excited, and then when I finally got to wait with the rest of the world for the final book to come out, it was like really just getting to experience it, and it was wonderful. So highly, if you don't read any other book on this list, please read this book. Recommend the Mortal Instruments series as a whole, but the first book is City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. Okay guys, I'm gonna get right into my costume and then I will be back. This is my costume for Halloween. I'm gonna be a Red Riding Hood with a little bit of a bloody vibe to it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing my top 5 paranormal recommendations, and I hope this also got you a little excited for Halloween. Let me know what you guys are going as below, or if you want to try to make me work for it, put in hints and I'll try to guess. That might be fun. And I can't wait to see you guys next time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below, and turn on that little notification bell for updates for when I post, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!